So I am here with Jeff Hudson, the amazing guy.
Well, thank you, Doug.
Trekked all the way down here to join us, and he's the CEO of Venafi.
Well, hey, thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Yeah.
So it reminds me of Bruno Mars, too hot, call the police and the fireman.
Okay, well, so whenever we have a Bruno Mars quote, we'll be sued. Bruno, it's cool, man. It's not. It's actually hot, but it's okay. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about Venafi. I'm going to try to keep saying it right without getting my vowel issues and problems. I have bad vowels or something like that. Yeah. You know, it's all those Eastern European languages and things. So it's like,
you betcha.
Don't use them any more than necessary or whatever. What problems and challenges do you solve for consumers? I mean, what do you do?
So let me give you a little context. So there's two actors on a network, people and machines. And people have to identify themselves to machines to get on the network.
Yep.
And then the machines have to talk to one another. They have to identify themselves as well.
Okay.
So make this whole thing work. We know that we know humans use usernames and passwords to do that, and machines don't. They use machine identities. So we know that the number of machines is going through the roof because that's what digital transformation is all about. Every machine needs an identity, otherwise you can't know if you trust it or not. And we spend about $8 billion a year protecting usernames and passwords as a society, and we're just starting to understand and get started to protect the machine identities.
Okay.
And so it's really important because the bad guys actually steal identities,
yes,
both human and machine.
Yep.
Humans are protected, the machine identities aren't. We created the technology, we invented the technology that protects machine identities for the world's largest and most security conscious corporation, so the bad guys can't steal them and use them against them. That's the problem we solve.
So yeah, because I was just the other day, I was at a DHS briefing, and they were talking about this attack on the energy industry, and they had this huge report, and I read the whole report because I was trying to gel it down for all of you that watch my show, and one of the things that was used in that was just the fact that we trust machines, and the machines trust each other, and so they actually compromised people using phishing attacks. But once they had compromised these very low-end people, those people's machines were compromised, and those machines were trusted by higher-level machines, and they got all the way to the server structure.
So you can elevate, and you can pivot. So once you get through a person, it's pretty easy. Machine identities aren't protected. You can then use those machine identities to pivot and to move laterally and to exfiltrate data. So yeah, it's a real weak spot in our security posture, and we got to take care of it, because it used to be you have a perimeter. And you say, well, everything in the perimeter I trust. And
I never said that.
Well, I know, but a lot of people did. like the people that made firewalls.
Paranoid cynics don't trust everybody.
So, but we guarded at the gates, right? We guarded the perimeter. The perimeter's gone. It's in the cloud. It's in multiple clouds. It's in IoT. It's on mobile devices. And so, what do you do? Because you can't say, well, it's in the perimeter. You got to say, oh, I recognize that thing. I gave it an identity. I trust the identity, so I'll trust that thing.
Okay,
make sense?
And I like that idea, because, like I said, I saw that attack, and I was thinking about Kerberos and some of the things that those kind of products a long time ago were trying to solve.
Right.
And I think those problems are far more prevalent today than they were even just a few years ago, because hackers have learned how to deal with it.
The number of machines has gone through the roof.
The number of machines has gone up, and the amount of trust we allow those machines to have has gone up as well.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm sitting there looking at just my network at home, and I'm going, wow, I trust my printer, and I trust my daughter's machine, and oh, look, what is this?
Thermostat.
Where did this thing come from?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, and it was my daughter's friend had brought an IoT device into our house, and it was trying to connect. It actually didn't, but it was trying to connect to our network. And yeah, thermostats and doorbells, and I don't know where any of that stuff came from. And all of a sudden, I got really, really paranoid.
Well, and those are physical machines, which we all understand. But if you think of a virtual machine, it's a server. It used to be physical, now it's virtual. Think of containers. Think of microservices. Think of APIs. If you connect to an API, how do you know it's a trustworthy API? What's it doing to you, right? And we're just oblivious to it because we've always thought somebody's taking care of that.
And it's convenience going beyond security. So it means you don't get your bag searched at the door, and it's a lot quicker to get into the show.
Exactly.
And that's the problem, because we want to trust all these machines. I don't want to have to use 3-factor authentication and a biometric every time I want to print a page on my printer.
Well, exactly. And the thing about machines is to protect them, because they work at machine speed.
Yeah.
Much, much faster than humans can work.
Right.
So humans can't protect machine identities. Machines have to protect them. By the time something on the screen turns from green to red, the human recognizes and does something, the game's over. So a big part of what we do is not only provide visibility to where all these identities are and what they mean, the intelligence, do they conform to policy, do they come from a trusted source, do they know what they give access to, but then how do we automate it all so that we can keep up with the bad guys? Because the thing is, the bad guys are now using machines to attack machines.
Absolutely.
So this is like really important, very not well understood. The category that's been created, and there's a Forrester white paper out on it, is called machine identity protection, which is, and it's critical to the success of a trusted world, cyber world that we're creating right now.
And that was a Forrester paper that.
Right.
Yeah. So you might want to read that. You might want to check out that DHS report too, because that's just tied right into this. Every bit of that was related to this. So how does your product work? I mean, what does it do?
So I mentioned the three things it does. It surveils the networks, both the internet, every IP address, but also the networks that somebody would call their own. It finds out where all these identities are, and then it brings all that information back, and then we apply machine learning and intelligence to it to figure out, is it going to hurt you or help you? Is it a good identity, a bad identity? And then the full automation suite. So we're integrated with over 1,000 different applications. So from F5 to Blue Coat to all the different CAs to mainframes, et cetera. Because you think about all these machines that are out there, machine identities, you got to automate all that. You got to be able to connect up to it, find out where they are, and then do something about it. So a big part of what we do is we've created this technology ecosystem where everybody's integrated in the Venafi platform to protect machine identities. Make sense?
Yeah. I mean, but so if I want to use this to print at my house, I want to trust my printer. Can I do that?
So our customers are like all the big banks. So 4 of the top 5 banks on all the continents, 5 of the top 5 U.S. airlines, all the big healthcare insurers, all the big retailers, and it turns out a lot of those guys actually protect a lot of your data. So you want them doing a good job. But everybody's got the problem. We have not consumerized it yet, although you could imagine at some point in the future something that for somebody like you that's got all these devices, a way to understand where all these things are and take care of them. So right now we're just starting with the big guys because they understand the problem, and so you want to work with the people that sort of understand the problem. Don't want to spend a lot of time convincing consumers they got a problem yet.
Well, yeah, I mean airlines are a good example of that because they have all these terminals sitting all over the place, all over the world.
Well, you know the world's largest mobile device is it 787?
Sabre.
787.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I mean, you look at that, and you look at all the different machine identities that are on that. You look at all the different Wi-Fi SSIDs on it. I mean, this is a major mobile device. It goes really fast, it's really big, and it's really important that we protect, obviously, the software that gets loaded on it and everything else.
So what is the one thing, if you want to close the deal, so you're getting ready to sell me on it, tell me what's that one thing? What's going to make it different than anything else?
Well, so the alternatives today are pretty much homegrown systems. People have tried to solve this problem. So if you look throughout their organizations, they'll have somebody with spreadsheets, somebody with a little database, and as the world moves faster and faster, it just doesn't keep up. And so one of the real interesting diagnostics is when machines start to go down because these machine identities expire. Because they have expiration dates on them. And then they stop working. And you might have seen it when you go to a web page that says this certificate's expired.
Absolutely.
And you say proceed anyway because you're a really good security guy.
Well, of course. Well, yeah, right. Of course I do. But I want to see that picture.
But machines don't. They stop.
No.
And so sometimes it's really impossible to figure out, well, what happened? And so that's a diagnostic. Means lost track of where this stuff is. It's expiring. It's hurting. But that's not the big problem. The big problem is the bad guys will steal a machine identity and use it in an attack. And so here's an example. Machines' identities not only identify things, they allow two machines to set up a encrypted tunnel between them. You know, this is that SSL thing. So that you can move information back and forth and all the hops in between can't see what's going on. Well, the bad guys, if they compromise one of these things, they can hide malware that comes in and exfiltrate data. So you got to know, is this thing been compromised? Is it good or bad? So that's...
So is that like a console thing that lets me know that then? So I'm sitting in some control center, or is it just expire and the machine
what happens
just
is
dead?
it feeds other things. So it figures out something's not right. It feeds a firewall, or it feeds something that takes action, or the Venafi platform talks to like an F5 device and says stop that now.
I see.
And that just happens like that because. And the thing about security is, once you find out something goes wrong, how long does it take you to get back to a known good state?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really important. So instant action, and then get rid of the one that's not good anymore, and replace it with the one that's good.
So how long, if I adopted this, so in my company X, how long would it take me to get this deployed across my entity?
So what happens is there's many applications, and we will land on something that's a hot spot for somebody, and then we expand to others. So all those integrations we talked about, those represent machine types and all kinds of things, whether it's DevOps, whether it's inside the firewall, whether it's in cloud instances, and so we've integrated with everything to be able to do that. So nobody boils the whole ocean. You start small and then you just move across the organization.
Okay. So how long has the product been around? I mean, as you said.
So the company's been around 12 years, and I've just dedicated the last 8 years of my life to protecting, seriously, the machine identities of the world's largest corporations. And a lot of it's just been evangelical, getting people to understand the problem. Yeah. Now because of the rise of machines, now people are saying, yeah, machines actually are kind of becoming equivalent.
Yeah, I've found that to be a much easier sales pitch lately. I mean, I'm not really a salesperson, but just talking to people about it. Well, I mean, I don't really sell anything.
No,
so.
I know you don't. You sell ideas.
Yeah, but talking to people in enterprise about things like that, they're starting, and this is C-level people, are starting to see that machines are talking to other machines, because of the cloud is one of the driving forces, because they say, our database is now not on site, it's stored at Amazon, it's stored on some server somewhere.
Some of it's on site, some of it's in it. How do these things talk together?
It's a virtual machine, yeah, and I get more questions like that from judges, I get questions like that from lawyers, asking me, can you just explain to me real quickly, like when the guy says it's not on site, what exactly did that mean? And I'm like, okay, yeah, let me, do you know about the cloud? You know what Amazon is? So put all your stuff at Amazon and sit at home and use it. And that's what's going on, because that really changed the equation, I think, in security in terms of both risk and also being able to explain it. But it's a huge threat. I mean, airlines and banks had this problem all along, because they've had stuff scattered.
They're basically digital.
They were decentralized digital entities
they had digitally transformed a long time ago. But if you look at the rest of what we rely on to live our lives, digital transformation's happening everywhere.
Right.
And it's all built on machines. It's not built on people. That's what a lot of people that listen to this don't understand. Digital transformation is about machines.
Yeah, and I think every time you see one of these break-ins, you're going to get calls.
We get them a lot.
I would think so. So who's your competition? I mean, who else is out there fighting with us?
It's mostly homegrown systems. What happens is CISOs or people that sort of are in the know think that's been taken care of. They'll say, well, doesn't a certificate authority do that? No, not exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we have SSH keys. I say exactly, and here's 95% of them. You don't even know where they are, how long they've been there. And so it's like, geez, I thought somebody was taking care of that, or, oh, they've got taken care of it, but then we can prove really quickly that there's no control. There's a
lot of misunderstanding about, and of course, CEOs in particular. I know you are one, but you seem like one that may be on the good side of this. A lot of CEOs I've talked to, they really want security to be a thing where they turn a key and everything is fine. A green light goes on and everything is fine forever and you never have to worry about it again. And we all know that that's not true. That when you see, I've had people say, well, but it has a little HTTPS on it, that means it's good, right? And it's like, well, it might be, but there's other places there could be problems.
The identity that created that.
Couldn't I create a fake certificate and a fake site?
Oh, it happens all the time. They do it all the time. Right.
I can create fake everything. I was just explaining creating fake email addresses to somebody last night, and that called me and was asking about, could you make an email address? It was like Apple, but it was an A with umlauts, and it was like, oh yeah, it's very easy to do.
Very easy to do.
But that wouldn't have a valid security certificate, would it? It would if it was for A with umlauts.
Right. People, see, this is subtle, but it's like foundational, and it's really important. The bad guys understand this. Some of the good guys understand it, but we really haven't taken it seriously enough, because it's so easy to say, well, people are the weak link. Let's focus on people, and that people will always be the weak link. Let's harden the machine infrastructure to actually protect the people, not harden the people to protect the machine.
Well, and the DHS case really, to me, is such a great. I mean, you may want to use that case in your own business to talk about it, because it really illustrated to me.
We got to be careful when we talk about customers or potential customers, but anyway.
Well, we don't know who these are, and this was an FBI released report,
Right,
so
right.
you can use it. So it's a government report that was released, and it's not secret, and it's not about any particular customer. All that was redacted. So it's a report briefing just about what the investigation of this case. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
So the result of the investigation anonymized and redacted.
Yeah, I mean, there's no information there about who this was. I mean, I'm sure some people could speculate, but I mean, they're not revealing, people's own weaknesses. But they were talking very much, and it was such a good illustrative point about here's how a human failed. And we all know that. You know it. I know it. We're all going to do it. We fail. We suck. We're weak. But
we can be fooled.
But that led to just this chain of compromise of machines.
Right.
And the humans got pulled right out of the equation after the first few steps. I mean, that's why I was saying it's right up your alley in that sense, because the humans were gone from the equation in the first little bit. And then all of a sudden it was just this machine taking out that machine, because they want to get to the SCADA. And eventually the humans get to come back in, but now it's bad guy humans, because once they get all the way where they want to be, then the humans can come in and go, what if I set this to 9 instead of 8? And then this thing overheats.
Right. Exactly. And that was Stuxnet, by the way.
Well, that's what Stuxnet did, yeah. But this was another. They actually, in this particular case, they did not do anything. The foreign actors who were doing this apparently just wanted to tell you that they could.
So there's a lot of things happening right now to try and undermine our trust in everything. Because if all the trust is undermined, then what happens is it sets up an opportunity for a different kind of a way to approach governing and everything else. And so this is why it's so important, because if all of a sudden governments aren't trusted, corporations aren't trusted, and thus is trust, what happens? We're going to end up with a dictatorship. We're going to end up with some kind of an autocratic environment that will take over, which there are some people in the world that want that, because our way of living is a threat to them.
And if you get people scared enough, that's exactly what they do. They step up and go, I'm so scared of everything, I will approve. You can take all my rights away.
Exactly.
And you can tell me exactly what I have to do every day.
Fascism.
Yeah. 1984, it already happened, but it's happening again, or something like that.
With Skynet in 1984 plus Skynet.
I want to push that off to like 2184 now and get rid of it, and then just get back to normal so we can have fun. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us on Security Weekly.
It's a real pleasure.
You're a great guy. I look forward to checking out your products some more.
And I really enjoyed the conversation.
Me too. It was lots of fun. It's great to see CEOs that know what they're doing.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
I've met a few that didn't, but you don't. Nobody, none of you, of course. Okay. Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Thank
we'll
you.
see you.
Okay,
all right.
bye-bye.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching this interview from Las Vegas. If you want to watch and learn more, go to securityweekly.com/summercamp18 or go to our YouTube channel Security Weekly to view the playlist.